Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Our next speaker is a resident of Bangor, and in fact of District 15, where Sam is running. I'm going to give her some time to step up this way before I say her name. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce Senator Nikki Farnham.
I just want to thank Sam for running. My family and I have lived in District 15 for 20 years, and in the 20 years that we've lived here, we've never had a Republican represent District 15. So I'm so excited to have your energy in District 15 and to have Sam Panders as our candidate for District 15. Sam, I'm looking forward to seeing you out there on the campaign trail, and hopefully you'll bring all this energy as well. So good luck. I'm looking forward to having a Republican representative in District 15.
Woo! Thank you, Nikki. Okay. I first met this next young man while we were campaigning for different competing candidates in 2010 in the gubernatorial election. He was campaigning for Paul LePage and I was working for Bill Beardsley. I was first impressed by the fact that he had knocked on doors in Enfield and rounded up more people for that caucus than I'd seen in much larger towns. Talking to him that day and dealing with him during the campaign, it became clear to me that this is a young man of character with solid principles. He's also very well spoken and has been able to discern and articulate the basic truths about what seems to be the most complicated issues. He's the executive director of Maine People Before Politics and is himself a man whose leadership is impressive. Please welcome Jason Savage.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. It's really nice to be here. I want to say thank you to everybody that is here. And I want to tell everybody that since 2010, everything has changed. We went out in 2010 and we won elections because the left, the liberals, they didn't really see us coming. I'll tell you, it's funny about that. For all the enlightenment and all of the we know better than you, just let us take care of it. Sometimes they can't really see what's right in front of their face. I think that's kind of the reason that they're still convinced that the economy's doing fine. What's important now is that we break out of our echo chambers. We all get caught up in communicating with the same groups of people all of the time, and we never really stop and look at expanding that scope. But what we've done in Augusta since 2010 is that we've left the far left, the liberal Democrats, on the outside looking in. And they don't like that. They don't like that at all. They walked in there. They walked in there in 2011, and they realized that they no longer controlled committees, so they couldn't stop bills from getting out onto the floor. They could no longer decide how to write the bills to get the results they wanted. They could no longer give away money to every special interest group that was going to get them elected, and they could no longer use Maine as their little progressive sandbox for social engineering. That is the number one reason why I tell you that since 2010, everything has changed. It's going to require more work, it's going to require more people, and it's going to require you to use your voice in a more clear manner to communicate what's important. Because I will tell you right now that if we don't do that, they are waiting to turn it back. In case you haven't noticed, what they like to do is that they like to experiment with policy. And all it takes when you have those progressives in power, all it takes for them to sell your freedoms and your tax dollars to special interest groups is for a few little promises, a few campaign contributions, and a few letters to the editor. and you end up with experimental soundbite public policy that the state of Maine and the taxpayers of Maine can't afford anymore. I've heard Sam Kanders speak twice. I've met Sam Kanders twice. And when I look at candidates for office in the state of Maine, I think of one thing. Will that candidate, as a representative or as a senator, shoulder past the lobbyists and the special interest groups and the protesters that are screaming in the Hall of Flags and walk into their committee room or walk into the House chamber or walk into the Senate chamber and push the button for the people of Maine and not those special interest groups? I believe that Sam Kanders is that candidate. I know what his opponent will do to the state of Maine if he ends up back in the majority, and I can do nothing more important than to stand here right now and ask you to please do whatever you can to get Sam Kanders elected as the next representative in District 15.